That is
They're being abused by both sides, aren't they?
Yes, Senator.
Both Republicans and Democrats are forum shopping, aren't they?
Certainly.
Professor, do you disagree with that?
I think both sides are abusing them. I agree.
Okay.
On it, Senator.
I suspect, Professor, your answer will be it depends on who's president. You said there are some members of the Supreme Court that are evil. Which justices were you talking about? On your podcast, April 22nd, 2024.
Okay, well,
Big as Dallas. And you're an officer of the court, and you're here advising us to be respectful to federal judges? And you say they're evil members of the United States Supreme Court? Gag me with a spoon.
Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. If you love the Constitution, if you love freedom, and if you're tired of activist judges and ivory tower professors twisting the law to fit their political agenda, you're in the right place. Today, I want to talk about something that fired me up big time. I just watched a Senate hearing where they grilled a bunch of so-called legal experts about federal court orders, nationwide injunctions, and the role of judges in our democracy. And let me tell you, what I saw was a perfect example of everything that's wrong with our legal system right now.
Would any of you advise a client to defy a federal court order?
No.
None of you would? How about you, Professor?
I mean, under most circumstances, we follow the government and private parties follow court orders. I suppose it's not, I would not rule out ever the possibility that in a sufficiently egregious order, there should be some consideration of whether there's a way.
So in some cases,
I think it's a qualified answer, yes.
in some cases you would.
In an extremely narrow band of cases, I think it would be considered, yes.
Okay. Do any of you think that nationwide or universal injunctions are not being abused?
I'm not sure what if I may, Senator, I'm not sure what the time horizon of the question is. I don't think that there could be good faith disagreements about the correctness of some of them, but I have not seen in the last 4 months
Professor,
abuse.
Smart,
no.
I've read your stuff, and I've read your writings, and I don't want to get bogged down with this, but I have little respect for your opinion because I've read your stuff. When someone is in the White House that you agree with and someone gets a universal injunction against him, you don't like universal injunctions. You called them judges acting like they're politicians in robes and judges looking like crass political actors. But now that President Trump's in the White House, who you dislike, you think that universal injunctions taste like pumpkin pie. So I have to discount what you say because I think you act on your political beliefs. And I worry that that's what you're teaching your kids. So I'll leave you out of that. Do you think nationwide injunctions are being abused?
Certainly, Senator. I think that is.
They're being abused by both sides, aren't they?
Yes, Senator.
Both Republicans and Democrats are forum shopping, aren't they?
Certainly.
Professor, do you disagree with that?
I think both sides are abusing them. I agree.
Okay. Both sides.
Yeah.
There are no clean hands here. Now, your suggestion is that when a federal judge issues a nationwide injunction, there should be an automatic stay and an expedited right of appeal. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Do you disagree with that?
I haven't given enough thought to have a position on it, Senator.
I suspect, Professor, your answer will be it depends on who's president.
No, Senator.
Let me ask you about this. What if we had a rule? I was reading an article the other day. I'm not suggesting it. I just want your opinions. That said, if a president, any president, issues an executive order, let's say, that clearly violates settled Supreme Court precedent, a federal judge can't issue a nationwide injunction. For example, if a federal a president issued an order that said no one in America has right to counsel any longer, including but not limited to, in a felony case, having the government pay for your lawyer if you can't afford it. That clearly violates settled Gideon v. Wainwright. In that case, a judge has no authority or does have authority to issue a nationwide injunction. But in a case where the law is unclear, a judge should refrain from that. Now, obviously, we'd have to trust our judges, but we're supposed to be able to trust them anyway. What do you think about that?
I don't agree with that, Senator, because I think universal injunctions transgress the limitations under Article 3, even if the underlying merits are clear.
I happen to agree with you. I don't think there's any basis under Article 3, under Supreme Court precedent, under the English common law for nationwide injunctions. I think politicians have helped judges, and many judges are politicians, to just make it up. And many of them are like Professor Shaw here. If they like the president, they're against nationwide injunctions. If they don't like the president, they're for him. Professor, let me ask you this while I have you. On April 22nd, 2024, you said there are some members of the Supreme Court that are evil. Which justices were you talking about?
I'll take it your word, Senator. I don't recall using that word, but
All right, here's what you said. You were talking about the majority opinion in Muldrow v. City of St. Louis. You said, quote, Justice Kagan, will she be able to control the opinion's future distortion by her evil colleagues? Probably not, end quote. Who were you talking about?
sir, I'm very skeptical. If it's a transcription, it was probably a transcription error. I do not think I said.
No, you said it. Why don't you own up to it? Which you call some of the members of the Supreme Court evil. Now, which ones do you think are evil?
I would have to refresh my recollection. I've been very critical
You're
of some
embarrassed
members of the
that
Supreme
you made
Court.
that statement, aren't you?
I'm
You're an
told,
officer
Senator, it
of the
doesn't sound
court.
like something that
You know
I
what
would
I'm
say.
embarrassed at? That you're teaching our kids.
I don't refer to Supreme Court justices as evil in
did,
the
right here,
in the classroom,
on
sir.
your podcast, April 22nd, 2024.
Okay, well,
Big as Dallas. And you're an officer of the court, and you're here advising us to be respectful to federal judges, and you say they're evil members of the United States Supreme Court? Gag me with a spoon. You're part of what's the problem in all of this.
Let's start with the basics. The senator asked, would you ever advise defying a federal court order? And most of them, as you'd expect, said no, because in America, we're a nation of laws, not men. But then, this one professor, typical lefty academic, starts hedging. He says, well, in some extremely narrow cases, maybe, folks, this is how it starts. The minute you say it's okay to ignore a court order if you personally think it's egregious, you're saying the law only matters when it fits your politics. That's not the American way. Then we get into nationwide injunctions. For those of you who don't follow every legal battle, a nationwide injunction is when one judge, can block a law or executive order for the whole country. It's a massive power grab. Even these legal experts admitted, both parties have abused it. Democrats and Republicans are both forum shopping, running to courts they know will give them the ruling they want. But let's be honest, the left has turned this into an art form. Remember when President Trump tried to secure our borders? One activist judge in Hawaii, and boom, the whole policy gets blocked. But when Obama was in office, suddenly these same professors and judges had no problem letting his executive order stand. And then, the senator calls out this professor, Professor Shaw. The senator says, when there's a president you like, you hate nationwide injunctions. But when there's a president you hate, you love them. And he's absolutely right. This is the problem in our law schools today. These professors aren't teaching the Constitution. They're teaching their opinions. And if you disagree, good luck passing the class. They're turning out a generation of lawyers who think the law is just a tool for their own political ends. And when challenged about it, this professor dodges, hedges, and pretends like he's above it all. Sorry, professor, but if you're going to call Supreme Court justices evil on a broadcast, you should own it. Instead, he says, "Oh, it must have been a transcription error. Give me a break." One witness actually had a good idea for once. If a judge issues a nationwide injunction, there should be an automatic stay and an expedited appeal. That means these activist rulings can't just go into effect and upend the whole country before anyone could challenge them. But you know what would be even better? Stop issuing nationwide injunctions altogether. Article 3 of our Constitution doesn't give judges that power. The founders never wanted unelected, unaccountable judges to run the country. That's Congress's job. That's the president's job. Judges are supposed to interpret the law, not make it. Folks, if we let these activist professors and judges keep bending the law to fit their politics, we're going to lose this country. The law has to mean the same thing no matter who's in the White House. It's time to take back our courts, our schools, and our Constitution. Let your senators know we need judges who follow the law, not their feelings. We need professors who teach the Constitution, not political propaganda. And we need Americans who are willing to stand up, speak out, and defend the rule of law. If you agree, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share this video with everyone you know. Let's keep fighting for the America our founders gave us. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.